That's okay. Good afternoon. I would like to call the government operations meeting to order. Madam Clerk, would you please take roll call?
Commissioner Wilson,
Oh, and if I could just make an announcement, Madam Clerk. We need to speak into our microphones, even though we might not be able to hear, but the people on Zoom will be. So, Madam Clerk, I'm sorry. Will you start again, please?
Commissioner Wilson, Commissioner Peterson Mayberry,
Present. Present.
Commissioner Kanizik, Commissioner Colleen,
Here.
Chair Clemente,
Here.
you have a quorum present.
Thank you. Next item, please.
B, Chairwoman's remarks.
I have none. Next item.
C, approval of the March 25th, 2026 meeting minutes.
Approval, Madam Chair.
We have a motion by Commissioner Clean and supported by Commissioner Wilson. All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Next item.
D, unfinished business. There is none listed.
Okay, let's move right to new business number 1, please. And we will take a vote at the end of committee for all items.
Item 1 under new business, forwarding the Department of Corporation Counsel settlement report for January through March 2026.
Does anyone have any questions about this report?
Oh,
we're on number 1.
Oh, okay.
Yes. No questions. Okay. We can move on to number 2, please.
Item 2, requesting commission approval of Amendment 1 to a 3-year purchase order with 2 1-year options to renew with CDW Government to continue to provide standard hardware, software, subscriptions, and warranties for technology commodities.
Okay, who is here on this item, please? If you could please come to the table. Oh, yes, that's fine. Please introduce yourselves.
Good morning, I'm Cheryl Reuter from IT, Team Lead Business Services.
Good morning, Ryan Hayes, Division Director of Computing and Infrastructure.
Okay, so this contract is going to do what for us?
This contract allows us to make purchases quickly, timely for hardware, software, subscriptions, things that we need on a quick turnaround basis. So there was a RFQ that went out, 3 vendors won last year, so we get bids between the 3. Whoever comes in with the lowest bid gets the purchase.
And this is to help make equipment, newer equipment, everybody kind of up to date on things.
Quickly, and things are needed on a quick turnaround basis, we're able to do those things timely.
Okay, very good. Commissioners, do we have any questions on this contract? Commissioner Wilson?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just a quick question for, it may be semantics, but you said RFQ versus an RFP. I know it's probably semantics, but can you kind of expound on that?
RFP is request.
And you said RFQ, so.
Request.
But normally when you get the request for a proposal, you have 3 bids, right? Or more than you take 3 bidders, or how do you get
for the original contract to go out, send it out to different vendors who wanted to bid and be included in this. That's how we came up with CDW, SHI, and Insight as the winners.
So you said you chose the lowest bidder, or the one that had the better qualifications? How did you?
So the RFQ went out.
Okay.
It went out. There were 418 solicitations.
418?
Mm-hmm. And we received 4 responses. And the top 3 vendors won the contract. That's why
Okay.
we're here today
Yeah.
for CDW, SHI,
Okay.
and
Yep.
Insight.
All right.
If I may just interject, so I should have had all three of them read in. These are the three contracts, so that was my mistake. So,
Okay.
so are there any questions on this, since we're on this one? Any other questions on this one? Are you okay
Yeah, I'm
with
fine.
what
Yes,
you got?
ma'am.
Okay.
Good, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, ma'am.
Commissioner Peterson Mayberry?
Thank you. So I guess my question would be on the three, but none of them are local.
Mhm.
So I'm just wondering if any of those who responded to the RFP and Q were local, because I know there are local contractors within the county that offer these same services.
I will go back and look to see, there were only 4 that responded. I'm not sure the fourth one where they're from. But I do know, each of the vendors do have employees local in the area. So even
Okay.
though the company may not be in Michigan, the representatives that we work with for each of them
Okay.
do have local office.
So just for the record, for me personally, we should be doing business with local vendors. And so if there are specialty offerings and services that vendors outside of the state for sure, but even with outside the county, if they have that, then that's one thing. What I'm constantly hearing is that we don't do enough local support with our vendors, and if they don't have the bandwidth for the entire contract, many of them are trying to find out how to even become a subcontractor. So I want to put that out there because I know in this particular industry, there are some local vendors, and I don't know if they responded to the bid. But
There was only 4 that did.
And none
But
of the
we do, when we have other purchases in that, we certainly do reach out to other local vendors to see if they would have the opportunity and offer what we're looking for.
Okay.
So we are conscious of that and try to do that when we can.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Yep, go right ahead, Commissioner Wilson.
Yeah, clear. So an RFQ is quote, right? Request for a quote, which is price-based use of 96%.
I think our commission council wants to weigh in on this.
Through the chair to this honorable body, so an RFQ is a request for qualification. So the primary factor is the vendor qualified? And then we have a request for proposal, and then you have an IFB. An IFB is based on price. So it doesn't matter if you are qualified or not. Essentially, if you can provide the widget and you have the lowest price, it's based on price. Well, right, so the qualifications, because it's usually like something like a widget, right? So I'm basing it based on price. I need a X, you're gonna provide it, tell me the lowest price, and we're gonna go with that. So that's an IFB. So that's what you were referring to, as opposed to a RFQ, which is qualifications of the firm or vendor. And the RFQ is usually like services.
If we're sorry. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. When you say qualifications don't matter, help me out.
That's IFB.
Okay.
So we got 3 categories: RFQ,
Okay.
request for proposal.
Mhm.
Well, RFP, request for proposal.
I know what that is.
RFQ, request for
I
qualification.
know what that one is.
And then in IFB,
Okay, that's
invitation for bid, based
Okay.
on, that's solely based on price.
okay.
Because whatever you need is not a professional service where I'm qualifying whether the engineer or the law firm has the qualifications to perform the services. In IFB, we're looking for a piece of equipment or something, so it's based solely on price.
Okay. So if I'm an engineer and I need carpenting work, I don't hire the engineer, I hire the carpenter. Is that what you're saying? I'm just trying to give you to illustrate.
No.
No? So
I'm saying that when we do our legal services, we put out an RFQ, it's based on qualifications of the firm. If you meet the qualifications set forth in there, then you may
Okay.
be put on the list to get county business. As opposed to if it's an IFB, invitation for bid, I need 500 widgets. It doesn't
okay.
matter what your or pencils. So then
Okay.
it's based on lowest
Okay.
price, but we can
Okay.
go further later if you would.
Yeah, I'm a little bit clearer now. So to my colleague, Peterson Mayberry's point, don't we have local folks that could do this? I mean, why do you,
Well,
I mean,
what has happened right now, it seems like there were only 4, when they put out and asked for people to come in. There's only been 4, and 3 of them we've worked with for a long time. They do have local people here as representatives, and I think that it's worth saying, that we should be looking, but we have to have them come in with these bids. So there is a list of vendor subcontractors, and I'm sure you guys are looking at that, and we'll pursue that in the future if it's appropriate. Okay.
Okay.
As we said, it did go out. So there were 418 solicitations.
Yeah.
So
So
in this, for these contracts, it's not like we're purchasing just 1 or 2 items. It's a multitude of, so the vendor has to be able to have the bandwidth to provide all of the things
Okay.
that we're looking for.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank
so
you.
out of 418, we only got 4. So, okay. I'm just going to have the clerk read in 2 and 3 if there's any other questions on those, we can go from there.
Item 3, requesting commission approval of Amendment 1 to a 3-year purchase order with 2 one-year options to renew with Insight Public Sector to amend the scope for standard hardware, software, subscriptions, and warranties for technology commodities. Item 4, requesting commission approval of Amendment 1 to a 3-year purchase order with 2 one-year options to renew with SHI International to amend the scope for standard hardware, software, subscriptions, and warranties for technology commodities.
Okay, so these are the 3 companies out of the 4 that were the ones that got the bids for all of these different IT scope hardware licenses. Anybody have any other questions on these? Okay, Commissioner Kling.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So if you are a county-based vendor, what does that do for you in the RFP or the RFQ process? Do you get bonus points for being a Wayne County-based vendor?
That's all handled by procurement.
Right. Procurement issue.
So they assist us with the solicitation, and then,
Does
procurement
anybody
kind
know
of
if
takes it
that's
from
the
there.
case? I believe we do give
Commission
some
Counsel.
sort of a,
Yes, if they're certified, they will get the credits. And I don't know how this worked out for this particular contract, but yes, if they're certified, they do get credits. And then that would mean that whatever when they do the evaluation, that helps them benefit them in the evaluation process.
certified by the county.
Mhm.
Yes.
Yeah.
By procurement, right?
Because the thing we see,
I'm sorry, could you please, I didn't hear what you said, and now you have to come to the table. If you're in the peanut gallery. Wait, put the microphone on, please.
Suhamu, Deputy Corporation Counsel, Human Relations Business Inclusion, or HRBI.
They do all the certifications for the county.
The county.
Okay, thank you. Go ahead.
thank you, Madam Chair. So these companies that are national companies, they get this question every city council, every county commission they come before with a contract. And the answer always is, oh yeah, we hired a couple of people. And we quick rented a room somewhere to say we have a local address. Does any of these, we hear that all the time, right? Oh yeah, we hired a few people. Yeah, we're in Jersey, but we have some people in Wayne County. We hear that all the time. Do any of these qualify as a county contractor then, or a certified county contractor or whatever it is, because they do have people locally?
I
Again,
could,
that would be a
procurement, yeah.
Yeah, and through the chair, normally we have that information. These are modifications, so I don't know the staff would readily know off top of their heads right now.
Yeah.
But normally that type of information is included in when we get the original contracts. We do get their certificate that is issued by Human Relations, Business Inclusion, and it'll tell you all of the certifications each business has. All of them always have an FEP, and then there are other ones that they may have as well. And then those packages usually tell us if they were awarded points, or staff may ask. But these are mods, So that's just not something I think we have
Right.
readily available at this moment.
No, but I was just trying to bring out a few more things about our procurement process and what works. These three look solid to me to go ahead and do it, but this question of being a local or being a certified Wayne County contractor, I was just probing to see if when they do say, oh yeah, we got people in Detroit, does that make them a certified contractor? So that's for the future. Thank you, Counselor. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Madam Chair.
You're welcome. From our policy person, it's usually they have local sales representatives, Joe was saying, but they have local sales representatives. But I think that we can explore this further. Maybe it's something that we would want at a cow so everybody could hear it. We could talk to Madam Chair about that.
Then, or if the county then says, oh, you got 3 people, a little office somewhere, sure, you're a qualified county contractor now.
I think it's something that we can look into. So thank you.
Madam Chair,
Yeah,
and
go
just
ahead.
one more thing on that. And so I understand these are mods, and so we're going through December 26th. I just want to make sure that we are being completely transparent in terms of the process. So through procurement, to have only 4 bids with 400 and over 400 solicitations, what if people know what they should be doing on their end so that they're responsible from their end, because I know that process very well. We've done it numerous times in different industries. So I know that, but the feedback is the feedback. The feedback is the feedback. So yes, in a cows, that would be great to have procurement so we can walk through that process and be extremely comfortable about what we share with our constituents.
And I think we're going to go back to Commission Council.
Just for information purposes. So with regards to these credits you're referring to, whether it's a women-owned business or Wayne County, that's controlled in your procurement ordinance. So the procurement ordinance actually sets forth that sort of process to some extent and the percentages that they're allowed. And that is your ordinance. Okay.
Okay, and then we'll have one thing from our policy person, Joe Slazak.
Yeah, Joe Slazak, policy analyst. One thing that we do see when is there are really 2 ways to, there's really a 2-part process of getting bids. One is our procurement division has a list of potential vendors that they send that's when we say the direct, send out directly the 400 some odd. They send those to them. Also, a lot of this, if not all of it, is posted on bidnetdirect.com. So it goes nationally. So you can not only do they reach out to the vendors through the direct solicitations, they are also posted at bidnetdirect.com. So anyone who looks online can see that and bid on that. So.
Okay. Any other questions? All right. Thank you very much, everyone that came to the table. Like I said before, we're going to vote on these items at the end of committee. And now we are going to move to our addenda. And we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 items, all Oracle items. And so what we're going to do is have Madam Clerk read these all in, and we're going to have someone step to the table for all our questions. So go ahead, Madam Clerk. Madam Clerk, if you would please read items 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9.
Item 5, requesting commission approval of Amendment 2 to a 12-month cooperative agreement with Oracle America to continue to provide Oracle functional experts to assist county subject matter experts assigned to the various Connect 43 modules comprising the Human Capital Management, Enterprise Performance Management, and Enterprise Resource Planning environments. Item 6, requesting commission approval of Amendment 1 to a 7-month cooperative agreement with Oracle America. Item 7, requesting commission approval of Amendment 1 to a 7-month cooperative agreement with Oracle America. Item 8, requesting commission approval of Amendment 1 to a 1-year cooperative agreement with Oracle America. And item 9, requesting commission approval of Amendment 1 to a 1-year cooperative agreement with Oracle America to continue to support of the ongoing maintenance and optimization of Oracle Cloud to directly bill for the credit service units through the Connect 43 module.
Okay, thank you. Sorry, I was trying to get my thoughts together there. Okay, so the first 4 item amendments. Yeah, so, okay, let's start with number 5 and then we'll go on to the next 4. So in number 5, this is to help our people with your people do a better job. And that's going to have, and we heard some things about, not having great relationships. I want to hear how things are going with this part of the performance management. Go ahead and introduce yourself, please. And thank you for being here in person.
Through the chair, Mike Jameson, Connect 43/Oracle Program Director. And if it's appropriate, and Joe, it's a question, I do have a copy of that deck that I sent to commission staff.
Yeah, it's fine. Yes. I looked at it online and yes, sometimes it's better to have a hard copy. Yes.
The color printer started acting funny on me.
That's okay.
Ran out of some color copies.
Thank you.
Where's your assistant? Here you go. Thank you. All right.
So to clarify, the 2025-31-031 to 034, those are part of the ongoing support model. They're the functional managed service contracts that essentially are the Oracle team that works with our module owners, our business analysts, and subject matter experts to deal with day-to-day troubleshooting, quarterly releases, enhancement requests, and just essentially support the county in the ongoing operation of Oracle based on the licenses we procured. So that's HC and the HR payroll, financial management, and budgetary planning. And these would be contracts and amendments that you would see in perpetuity for as long as we have Oracle. So as long as we have Oracle, we'll have these managed services contracts. And then I can speak to the 5th one if you want me to, just while I'm going.
Okay, so what we're doing here today is lining all the dates up and extending out to 28, correct?
And so this, if you remember, you approved the initial contracts a few months ago, and
In
then the plan
February,
was to get
yes.
these contract amendments in front of you so that the Wayne County and Oracle start and expiration dates are the same, so we don't have any more of it started on this date based on commission approval, but then in Oracle it was a different date because essentially there wasn't an alignment. So this just aligns our managed services really in perpetuity. So every amendment after this would essentially be just a continuation of the alignment.
And this is all the critical services that is being provided.
Correct. So to say differently, if we didn't have these contracts, the work required to resolve issues and enhancement requests would all fall on internal Wayne County folks, Wayne County IT, and the business analysts and subject matter experts. Because these contracts provide Oracle functional support, it essentially allows us to kind of maintain the operation and the ongoing Oracle platform by essentially alleviating the need for all of that to be in-house in Wayne County, which is not advisable.
Okay. And then, of course, something came up with the MI deal, and I think we did get some clarification through our commission council about that in Oracle. You mentioned something about the MI deal extending, or that it's going to expire. Excuse me.
Through the chair. So it's my understanding that that language is in four, I believe, of five of these. Somehow
Mhm.
they missed one. But
Mhm.
yes, that they are starting to move towards addressing that concern that we've been expressing over the last few years. So hopefully all future contracts will include it. But at this point, you're very entrenched with Oracle and their services right now. But hopefully we can get that in all future contracts.
So in the last one, would we need to have that language in there? You said they're 4 out of the 5.
Through the
Before-
chair, we've had prior contracts without it, haven't had any issues. I'm not sure if there's a need to send it back, but again, hopefully, as all of these contracts start moving through the process, they'll make sure that language is included in all of them.
Okay, I think that was stated loud and clear, correct?
It was.
That, okay.
And on page 4 of this document,
Yes,
I do a summary of the language that's currently in each document
okay,
that kind of speaks to essentially, what was being said, that these ordering document terms would supersede any expiration of the My Deal co-op upon which they were based, based on when these contracts would expire as opposed to when My Deal would expire.
okay. I'm going to yield for a minute and let other commissioners ask questions because we'll see what else comes up. Commissioner Peterson Mayberry.
So, thank you, Mr. Jamison. I do have a question as it relates to, I think everybody's pretty much aware of the layoffs that are happening at Oracle.
Mhm.
I did ask this yesterday, but just for the record, do we anticipate any alteration of service or being impacted by any of the support services that we're receiving due to the big, massive layoffs with Oracle?
Good question. So, for everyone's edification, last week, I can't remember the exact date. I think it might have been Tuesday or Wednesday. Oracle sent an email to 30,000 of its employees, essentially letting them know that they were being laid off, and there was essentially severance packages prepared according to whatever contractual arrangements they had, and behind that, Oracle is essentially putting all of its focus on artificial intelligence, AI. And so the logic behind that is essentially they have $553 billion of AI related backlog or pipeline. So it's not revenue, but they want to convert it to revenue. And so they're using the savings from these more administrative sales position layoffs to take that money and invest in its AI infrastructure with the goal of converting that projected pipeline revenue to receive contracted revenue. And so it's a bet on AI, high level. How does this affect Wayne County? We did have one of our lead sales folks for the ADW implementation contract get affected. Luckily, his boss was already involved in the discussions and has been involved in the discussions, so he's essentially picked up the slack where our lead fell off. But honestly, and I was talking with the CFO yesterday, I honestly think that this will be a good thing for the licenses that we procure, because that means that more AI infrastructure will be embedded in the licenses go forward. So we should see more AI functionality as we go forward because of Oracle's bet on AI. So that means as we're doing accounts payable, doing human resource related items, payroll, we should start to see those efficiencies embedded in the product, because that's essentially where Oracle is putting its chips.
But I'm sorry, just
Yeah.
follow up. So, but does this create, so I think one, there's a dependency on Oracle, right? And I heard you loud and clear about this work. If we're not using them, then it comes back to the county and we don't have the bandwidth for that. So in 28, or is there ever a plan to where we are able to control this in-house and only have to use them when we have to use them versus being so dependent on them?
Good question. So yes, in our fiscal year 27 budget, we've budgeted for positions to assume the work. I'll say the work, whether we can convert people from the Pierce Monroe staff augmentation contract, or again, have folks in place to take this work over. I think you'll see on the SME staff augmentation contract and the Pierce Monroe that we have a wind down plan to basically bring that work in-house. in terms of managed services, and this goes to your question around Oracle, we will always need managed services. I think I'd mentioned at the committee of a whole that we plan to do an RFP for managed services. So it doesn't necessarily have to be Oracle that provides managed services. That's who we've been using since implementation. But managed services is a dedicated industry within the implementation, kind of, and it's not just Oracle. It would be Workday, it would be NetSuite, any of the providers. And so RFP for managed services to kind of see what's out there, test the market. There's more than Oracle that provides these services.
Absolutely.
And so we wouldn't need to be relying on Oracle for managed services. We would need to be relying on Oracle for the actual product itself.
Okay.
Because as long as we use
Their
Oracle,
product.
we have to use the licenses. But in terms of the managed services provisions and contracts like the SME staff aug, there's a plan to wind the SME staff aug down. And then I think a RFP for managed services, and there's, the big four do it. There's a lot of companies that do it. Some local, again, we have to make sure that they can
They have the bandwidth.
accommodate,
Absolutely,
accommodate
yeah.
our scale. But there definitely is an opportunity to evaluate the marketplace for managed services that doesn't necessarily rely on Oracle to provide the
Right.
service.
Last question, Madam Chair. The last time we were here, and I think, Madam Chair, you alluded to this a little bit in your opening around some of the challenges that employees were experiencing. Relationship was one thing, and even pay corrections and things of that nature. And I think last time you might have been driving when you were talking to us, but you mentioned that there were going to be some communications to employees so that they could adequately put forth a complaint or an issue because their pay had been incorrect. Has that happened?
It has, and,
Okay.
and I will forward to this body the communication. But yeah, we put together I'll call it a cheat sheet, but
Yes.
basically I have an Oracle question or concern. What do I do?
Okay.
And it kind of walks through, and I'd had a slide in the COW deck, but it basically kind of walks through. Like, I start here, then I go here, then I talk to my DMBS liaison, and then I log a ticket, and it's different types of tickets based on the need. If I need a report, I log a report ticket. If I need access, I log an access ticket. If I have an issue or an enhancement, I log this
So
particular.
it walks through that process.
It does.
Yes,
It does.
share that.
I will do.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Any other commissioner questions? No. Okay. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
So was there one thing hold on one. Okay. So the last Oracle, number 9, is not coterminous with the rest of them. So will that just a standalone or? Okay, so this is just, and it doesn't have to be lined up with the rest of them.
Does not.
Does that make sense to everybody over here? Council? Okay. So I just have one question. So you said that in 2027, there is funding or a look at to try and bring this all in-house. Is that why there's a discrepancy in like monies, that it goes so much higher and then 26 and 28 is because we'll be.
So to clarify, and this is kind of where, we're bringing in I'll call it temporary contracts, which is this Oracle SME staff aug is a temporary contract, where the managed services are permanent contracts. Like they'll go on, as long as we own Oracle. The goal is to beef up the internal infrastructure in M&B and PHR as well, so that the folks that have been providing services on the staff augmentation contracts, Pierce Monroe and Oracle SME, we have the infrastructure to take that work over, because again, that the staff augmentation contract, the 5th one, really is supplementing our internal resources because of the volume of work in addition to their day-to-day work. And so you address that by bringing in the infrastructure in the org chart to have folks in, one to supplement, the operational aspects of their roles, and then also to assume and help them with the Oracle aspects. So the goal would be that over the course, assuming that the budget, gets approved, that we would hire in positions, either new folks off the street just going through regular solicitation and recruiting, or transition some of the PMA consultants into a full-time permanent position, and they would continue in that role just as a M&B or PHR FTE, and that over the course of 27 we would essentially be able to wean down the PMA and Oracle contract staff aug contracts, and essentially by the time we get to fiscal year 28, either determine if we need to make any adjustments to the infrastructure based on real-time results, or not. But we would essentially, when these contracts expire, we would literally be looking at the ongoing operations for the Wayne County side of the roles and responsibilities being maintained by Wayne County employees. And I will say, and we, just from experience at prior stops, it can be hard to maintain the more technical folks, mainly because they're used to working in contractual circumstances. We haven't licensed all of the Oracle licenses that could be done, and so from their perspective, them having that ability to learn new things that we might not own is going to be attractive. So I'm prefacing that we might still always need to have some aspect of a temporary staffing contract to address those needs, but it wouldn't be at the same level of magnitude that it has been previously.
And maybe some people would like to come to Wayne County. 30,000 people. The only other thing that I want to bring up that I did read that our fiscal people wrote is that you're over budget and a lot of things need to be worked
Correct.
through that. And anytime we see over budget, it makes me very nervous. So I hope that you can work through that and get
and I can
whatever
provide
needs
some
to be
detail
done.
on that too.
Me?
I can provide some detail on that.
Yes, please do.
Yeah. So basically what's happening, so we switch systems going from fiscal year 25 to fiscal year 26. And I'll try not to get too deep into the accounting of it, but when you receive services or goods in a prior fiscal year, but the invoice hasn't been received, and more importantly, you haven't paid it, you haven't paid that invoice, you do what's called a receipt, which puts the expense in the right fiscal year. And then when the invoice comes, whether it comes the next month, the next day, 2 months down the line, it processes it, and there's a thing called a receipt accrual reversal that offsets the invoice in the month in which it's paid. In the case of us switching systems, Oracle doesn't have the benefit of the receipts from JDE, like those are JDE receipts, and JDE is the official book of record for fiscal year 25. Because Oracle is now our system, October 6 onward, when the invoices come and we pay them, it's using Oracle fiscal year 26 budget to pay that invoice. It's complicated in Oracle because Oracle separates budgetary control, which is where funds availability is held, from the general ledger. So essentially the process that I mentioned to fiscal staff is we're essentially going to mimic the receipt accrual reversal only in budgetary control. And what's been taking a little more time is because we don't have the same level of detail in JD Edwards on the invoices, we're literally cross-referencing invoices, Oracle, invoices, JDE, completely to get to a number that we can support when audited. And that's kind of where we're at in the process. But the steps to actually execute the process are pretty straightforward. It's just making sure that we got our T's crossed and I's dotted with the amounts and invoices, because you don't want to understate the offset, and you definitely don't want to overstate the offset because that creates artificial budget.
Yes. And the attention to detail needs to be very, very good on that, because we've had tax problems, other, issues that depending on, and departments need to be watching that, because before you know it, we're going to be in budget season.
Right.
And of course, all that needs to be completed.
Right.
So that is,
It will be
that's,
auditable. I can
that's just a point I wanted to bring up, because people, that are not on this committee maybe don't hear all of this, and then they get really nervous about Oracle, the word Oracle and Connect 43s. We're getting lots of questions. So I want to make sure that we're, asking all the questions and making sure everything's getting done correctly.
It's a one-time item because we switched system fiscal year
Right,
25 to fiscal year
exactly.
26.
Got it. Okay, any other questions? Go ahead, Commissioner Clean.
You anticipated my question on that. So once you line them all up, JD Edwards, all kinds of stuff, when do you report the results of that to the commission to say, yeah, it really wasn't a deficit?
Good question. So, I mean, I guess we could do it a few different ways, but I'm more than happy to include it, in a particular update for GovOps. But I'm
think-
open to suggestions.
I think we should hear it here. Of course, it'll come up in budget hearings
Mhm.
as well.
Yep.
That you'd be reporting to, but I want that reported here too, because it could get lost in the budget hearings,
True.
depending on,
True, depending on.
yeah,
Mhm.
that, so, yeah, to report back here to say, okay, this is how it all
Here's the
turned out.
results. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And walk you through the process.
Yep.
Yep.
Thank you.
Perfect.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
You're welcome. Any other questions? Okay, so now if I could get
I'll
get
give
this
you a
on.
motion, Madam Chair.
Okay, motion to receive and file number
Number
one
and
and
approve
approve 2 through 9.
9.
Thank you for that motion.
Making them,
Commissioner Clean, can I get a support? Support from Commissioner Wells. Thank you. All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Any opposed? Madam Clerk,
F, such other matters as may be properly submitted before the
I know
committee.
of none. And now we're at public comment. Can't hear anybody. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to make public comment? Please come to the table. Second chance, public comment. I see none. Next item,
Adjournment.
motion. All those in favor? We're adjourned.